The elevator game is a real game that only the bravest of people can play. To play the game, you need a 10-story building with at least one elevator, and you need to enter this building and elevator alone. That is step 1. Enter the elevator alone on the first floor. The next steps are to press the buttons for these floors in this exact order. 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, and 1. During this time, you are forbidden to leave the elevator or else the game will not work. When you reach the 5th floor, some people have reported encountering a young woman. She might try talking to you, asking for help, or even antagonizing you. Whatever you do, do not interact with her, look away, and continue the game. Upon pressing the final button for floor 1, if the game has worked, you will ascend to floor 10. However, if you press the button for the first floor and the elevator descends to the first floor, get out immediately, for the game has failed. Now, if the elevator does indeed take you up to the 10th floor, you will notice slight changes in your environment. No one will be there. The power could be out, electronics are known not to work, and if you look out the windows, you will see only a red cross in the distance. Keep in mind that the woman can still be there. Ignore her, or else she will haunt you for the rest of your days. This elevator ritual is what the game we're talking about today, the elevator game with Catgirls by No Bread Studios, is inspired by. In this game, we play as Asahi, a human woman turned cat by some strange happenstance, which spreads to her girlfriend, Kieran, making her another cat girl. The game begins with Kieran taunting Asahi to play this elevator game because their friend Sapporo bet them $50 to do it. And Kieran promised to treat her girlfriend Asahi to a fancy dinner with that money. But this completely wholesome situation quickly goes south when Kieran doesn't come back from her attempt at the elevator game. Thinking it was a prank by Kieran and her friends, Asahi decides to go home without Kieran, thinking she'll see her at school tomorrow. But that never happens. Days go by and Kieran never shows up to school. Stealing herself, Asahi decides to go to the other world by playing the elevator game to find Kieran and bring her back. Heading back to the building, Asahi successfully completes the elevator game and reaches the other world before she finds Kieran on the other side of a wide, impassable gap. Sapporo also appears, telling us to find the camera, as it's the key to us all being able to leave the other world. Though Kieran doesn't trust Sapporo, seeing as how it was Sapporo's bet that brought them here to begin with, and so Kieran shoves Sapporo off the bridge down into the misty abyss below, screaming at Asahi to wake up. And she does. Asahi wakes up in her bedroom of her house, slightly dazed from the bizarre dream she just had, but she manages to meet up with Kieran, who is teasing Asahi about not wanting to play the elevator game, bringing us back to the beginning of the game, where Kieran plays the elevator game for the first time. During our playthrough, we can search the lobby or speak to different characters that mysteriously appear for hints to find different floor inputs on the elevator that will reveal different paths, though the reason for playing is the same: to get Kieran back. One path we can take is given to us by a strange, sly-looking man who kind of reminds me of the Keaton mask from Ocarina of Time, which is kind of funny because the first time we meet this guy, he asks for the time. And that gives us our next code to use in the elevator, bringing us to a watery path filled with bioluminescent mushrooms where we find a cute little Japanese-style room with the camera that Sapporo told us to find. We return to the path, which is now a happy little river of blood, to use the camera on the white cross in the wall to reveal the path going further. At the end, we come to a lonely chest, empty but for a red note lying at the bottom. Reaching in, Asahi is pushed from behind and locked into the box as water begins to flood inside. The water rises to cover her face, and all Asahi can think is that this must be some sick prank by Kieran, who appears again telling Asahi to wake up. When we wake up, the note is still in our hands, and it reads, "One of the kittens almost drowned. I showed mercy and stopped holding its head under the water, though." Smiley face. Again, Asahi runs back to the building, determined to rescue Kieran. Finding the camera opens up new passageways to find more clues for the elevator codes. Performing the elevator game again, we find Kieran, only this time she has no cat ears. But the two have a cute little interaction with Kieran mysteriously disappearing, leaving a red note behind that says, "I'll make them pay for this." When suddenly, Asahi is shoved off the bridge to fall into the misty abyss, just like Sapporo. Just like last time, she wakes up at home, and just like last time, she returns to the building to rescue Kieran. During our playthrough, we catch glimpses of Kieran where we try to follow, only to come up short, often finding a red note in her stead. Now, there are a ton of different endings to this game, but the true ending leads Asahi to the Otherworld one final time to save Kieran. This is where we finally realize all the red notes were thoughts left by Kieran by the odd powers of the Otherworld. Kieran despised us for turning her into a Catgirl. Kieran hated that we loved her. Kieran was the monster who tried to drown us. And yet, despite knowing all of that, Asahi still decided to save Kieran by sacrificing herself to stay in the Otherworld while Kieran made her way to safety.
What are you waiting for?
And that is the tragic story of the elevator game with Catgirls. Subscribe so you don't miss my theory coming soon on who Kieran really is. But thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.